A Tiny Revolution features adults having adult conversations, which means that adult language is probably going to be present. Just so you know. Hey y'all, you're listening to A Tiny Revolution. Oh, I've never said y'all before at the beginning of this. Anyways, you're listening to A Tiny Revolution, a podcast about ordinary people living revolutionary lives. I'm Kevin Garcia, I'm from the South, and I say y'all. Anyways, welcome to episode 57. I am so excited about this conversation today. I think this one is going to be one of my top favorite conversations for a long time, and when you listen to it, you'll know why. It was basically just like a full-blown kiki. Sitting down with Austin Channing Brown to talk about her new book, to talk about being a black woman in America, talking about the intersections of liberation for queer folks and people of color. Oh, it is juicy, my friend, and I think you're going to get so much out of it. I hope you do, and if you don't, you need to check your pulse because it's that good. But before I get into talking about Austin, I want to express a lot of gratitude before I get into it. Don't worry, I won't be too verbose. For a long time, I have been... Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional. I'm okay. I have been doing creative work pretty much part-time, just when I could scrape together time and money and energy to do this stuff. And I feel like I'm finally getting to a place in my career where that's no longer the case. It's pretty much part-time. I have 20 hours a week that I'm working at a yoga studio now. Not working at a restaurant, no mo. We moving up in the world. Not that there's anything wrong with working in a restaurant industry, but it was exhausting for me. And so to move to a space that is a lot more peaceful, zen, if you will, has been a really positive thing, and not to mention it has freed up so much time for me to pour into my creative work. So now that I've finished transitioning out of that last job into this new position, I'm able to pour into my creative work. And not only that, you guys have risen to the challenge of supporting this work. Like, it's not just me doing this. It is the 97 people on Patreon who are supporting me every single month with $1 and $2 and $5. It's the people who follow me on Twitter who give me so much encouragement. It's the 2,000 subscribers, which I can't believe that I've got 2,000 subscribers now on my blog, who write to me and tell me that this work is doing something for them. I'm okay, I'm not crying. I'm so emotional right now, but it's so good. I just really need to say thank you to every single person who listens, whether you're a regular listener or not, whether you are a supporter or not. I feel so blessed, which sounds like such a cliche word, but I'm so blessed to be somebody who gets to create things on the internet and share my life with you. I'm so thankful for the people who write in and tell me that what I'm doing is making a difference, because it gives me a lot more focus, and it reminds me that the work of liberation's not done, y'all. We're not free until we're all free, right? So I just want to say a big thank you to all of you who have stuck with me thus far and who are joining me on the journey now. Thank you. All right, I am done being weepy and emotional. Not that there's anything wrong with being weepy and emotional, but I'm sure you want to hear the conversation more than you want to hear me weep. Or maybe you do want to hear me weep because you're one of those people who gets off on other people's sadness, or... Not that I'm sad. Anyways, let's jump in to talking about my friend Austin Channing Brown. Oh gosh, like, this bio doesn't even do her justice. She's everything, y'all. But I'll go ahead and read her bio just so we can, like, you know, make it formal. Austin is a freelance writer and speaker with a particular focus on black womanhood and faith. She is working on her first book, which is going to be released May 2018, honey, which is this month. Her writing can be found in Sojourners Magazine, Relevant Magazine, Mutuality Magazine, and other places on the web. She also wrote a column called Wild Hope for Today's Christian Women, which is still accessible to readers. Passionate about racial justice and reconciliation, Austin travels the country preaching and teaching about the ways this work intersects with Christian faith. Austin attended North Park University, where she earned a degree in business management. She also has a master's degree in social justice from Mary Grove College in Detroit, Michigan. Since earning her master's, Austin has worked with nonprofits, churches, parachurch ministries, and universities, both in urban and suburban contexts, for the advancement of racial justice and reconciliation. Most recently, she served as a resident director and multicultural liaison at Calvin College. There, she was able to work with and learn from millennials for 3 years as they navigated college life. Austin misses living in Chicago, Illinois, but she's making Grand Rapids her home right now. She is married to her best friend Tommy and adores her infant son and little puppy. And I just adore her so much. So Austin, thank you for sitting down with me. Thank you for having this time. And yeah, if you don't already have something to drink in your hand, you're going to want some. If you're listening to this late night at home or something, grab yourself a glass of wine, because that's what I was drinking at the time, I think. Because it's seriously one of those delightful, fun conversations that's so playful and joy-filled. I'm done talking now. Sit down, shut up, grab a friend, send this to your mama. You're about to get a dose of reality with Austin Channing Brown. I'm not shitting you. I have never read through a book faster than I read through this one.
Shut up.
I'm so serious. Like, I read it. I started reading it on the way to Chicago. And then I got through like 10 chapters. And then I read the rest of it on the plane ride back.
I love that so much.
And I have like marked it up to all the gods. And some of the comments I have are the highlights of saying, oh yeah, I relate to that. And then as I'm reading other things, like the stories you're telling, I just say, well, holy shit. Wow.
Yeah.
It's so I would say if I were to give this a review, it would be 3 words, and it is fuck me up. It is so good.
I love it.
Yeah. So before I gush more about your book, if you could tell people, like, if someone doesn't know who you are, what would be like the cocktail story you would tell them at the party about, like, who you are, what you do, what you're about, and like where you're going?
Oh God, I am a nobody who just really loves to talk about race. That is. I am no one important. I hold no, official job. I work for myself. I work for Jesus.
Yes.
But I really, really do enjoy diving into the muddiness of race and racial justice. And so that's what I do. And then once I think I've figured something new out, then I write about it.
Dope. And here we are with your new book.
Here we are.
I'm still here.
I wrote a few things.
Yeah, just a couple of things.
Just a few.
So, hardest part of writing the book, what was it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was pregnant when I was writing.
Oh, that's right, because you have the letter to your son in there.
Mm-hmm. So, truthfully, being pregnant was the hardest part.
Growing another human inside your person was hard.
What? Yeah, well, I was like trying to write and think and have like manage my brain cells.
Yeah.
It was rough. I was really nauseous in the first part of my pregnancy, so that was rough. And then once the nausea finally passed, then I could like feel him. So there was like a foot in my rib cage, or I had to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes, which is not helpful when you're trying to write. You know what I'm saying?
Highly inconvenient, I would imagine.
Highly inconvenient.
Thanks a lot, small baby.
Sheesh. So rude.
I know.
But with all sincerity, it's being pregnant and trying to write a book by far the hardest things I've ever done.
I don't think I'll try it anytime soon.
I don't recommend it, I'll be honest.
Although, like, sometimes I think about just, like, if I could get pregnant, would I? Because I think it could be kind of cool.
Oh, I made the decision a year before I got pregnant. Because I am not the girl who grew up with, like, I can't wait to be a mommy. That was not my story. Mm-mm. No. I wasn't sure I wanted to do it until I got pregnant. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah. So, in the book, you also, this can be as formal or as informal as you want. I tend to slant towards. I just tend to I like to jaw and just like cut up and be fun.
Having a good.
While having a good time, and also just like touching on a few things that are like important, I guess.
Sure. If we must.
If we must. Okay, well, let me ask you this. The concept of writing this book and this is it's a collection of stories that you've lived through, both as a young child and realizing that you are a black woman in the world after being surrounded by so much white people and whiteness in general, to becoming someone who's working in like Christian nonprofit land and all the bullshit of Christian nonprofit land and whiteness in there. And then also bringing it into the present of not just like how it affects us in Christian circles, but how is this affecting people in communities, especially in lower income areas or poorer areas in inner city areas. How did you? I mean, damn, there's some poetic writing in here.
No, thank you.
Like I wrote at some of those, I was just like like the last couple pages, I was just like, damn, like
That makes me so happy. If
it's
everyone who reads this just wants to curse at the end, that is like gold. Like really, that is like gold.
yeah. It was just I don't know, like what was like the first spark that brought about this book?
You know what? Truthfully, I really wanted to write this book probably 4 or 5 years ago,
Hmm.
and publishers didn't want it.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I imagine so. There's like, we have a black president. It's fine. We don't need this book.
Right. Not only that, but I mean, it was before Black Lives Matter.
Hmm.
It was before Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Hmm.
It was before, it was just like pre our current conversation on race.
Yeah, we were still
You
at
know,
using racial reconciliation as a big word.
do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I would say that most memoirs, in order to make it back then, had to have like a I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, or I had a near death experience, or like there had to be some like big
Hmm.
overarching story or some huge climax in the memoir, and that has since changed. And so, yeah, 5 years ago, people were like, eh. Like,
They're just like, wait, so you had like a hard time at work? That doesn't sound.
right.
Everyone has hard times, Austin. You were born with a boy name. Everyone's born with a boy name
Right.
sometimes. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That is the exact reaction, though. And then, so I had a terrible time trying to write proposals,
Hmm.
because I was like, well, what book should I write? And eventually, my people were like, didn't you have a book that you wanted to write? Like, what happened to that one?
Hmm.
And I had just completely tossed it because I was like, nobody's gonna want it. No
Hmm.
one's interested. But this was the right moment, and it turns out people are interested, Kevin. Who knew?
Yeah. I mean, I am. It's really good. I think the thing I loved most about it is because I saw your conversation at Why Christian, like discussing the
Yes,
book.
yes, yes,
It was
yes.
so delightful and delicious and wonderful. And I was probably, but this is something like, I'm definitely like Pentecostalish in my roots, and so
Yes.
I was probably the person from the second row just shouting, "Mm-hmm, yep, mm-hmm, come on, come on,
Which I need in my life. Please talk back to me.
yes." Like
It's like the white silence thing, though I know it's often rooted in respect, it just like freaks me out. I'm
I
like, are
can't
you
do
kidding
it.
me? Are
Yeah.
you okay? Can you like give me feedback?
Like, can I? Is anybody a witness? Can I get a witness from my
Anybody.
Lord? Who will be a witness? Bueller. Okay. So my first speaking gig ever, I was up in I don't remember where it was, like the northernmost city in Pennsylvania, like on the border of Canada. You could walk across the ice lake and get to Canada.
See.
And I am not a penguin. I am not built for the cold. And so I show up trying to look cute and all this stuff. And I'm doing a talk on like sexual assault awareness and prevention to Greek life students.
Hmm.
And so I walk in there, I talk about my own experience with sexual assault, I talk about seeing the humanity in another, I talk about toxic masculinity. And I told them at the very beginning, I said, y'all, I come from a Baptist background, so like when the preacher's doing okay, you need to say something. So
Right.
let me hear you say, mm-hmm. And I go, mm-hmm. I'm like, no, I didn't hear you. It's like, mm-hmm.
No, try it again. Try it again.
And then like I went like full like Pentecostal Rachel Held Evans, and I looked at this one woman and I said, "Woman of valor," and no one said anything. I'm like,
Oh no!
and I'm just like, let me try that again, and then I got an amen out of them. I'm just like, come on, guys, I've been with y'all for 45 minutes, and none of y'all.
Right. I know. God bless their little hearts.
Yeah, bless their hearts. That's what we say down here.
That's what I heard.
Where do you live again?
I live in Michigan, love.
Oof, oof.
Yeah. I know. Talk about the cold.
Yeah. Let
That's
it go. That's what I said to that.
Pray for me. Just pray for me.
Yeah. May the Lord be a fire that keeps you warm and guides your path. Jesus be a heating lamp for you.
Let it be so.
Okay. So the thing you did say at your talk at White Christian, because I remember why I was saying that,
Mm-hmm.
is that you wrote a love letter to like Black women everywhere. and just as a way of saying, like, listen, I see the struggle. And I think what is so beautifully done in this book is that you let other people see. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional thinking about this, but you let other people see into your very real, very delicate, very taxing experiences. And does it feel sometimes I don't know, does it feel like hard to share this kind of vulnerable stuff on such like a big platform like this?
A lot of the stories that I've told in the book are stories that I've been telling for a long time.
Mm.
Or they're stories that I had already written about.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, Charleston,
Yeah.
there were things that, you feel like fire shut up in your bones, like it's
Mm-hmm.
happening and you just, I gotta get it out. Um, so I want to be honest and say that there were many parts that even though I tried to write about them the way I felt when I experienced them,
Mm-hmm.
I no longer carry that same level of emotion about them,
Ah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so my writing process was really trying to tap into how I felt then. What did it feel like to go through that? What was shocking about it? What was confusing? I feel like confusion is maybe a dominant theme in this book. Is this really happening moment?
Mm-hmm.
Is this really happening?
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, did they ask that?
Right?
Did
Is she
she
really looking for my hair? Like,
I
is this
still
happening
can't
right
believe that. When I
now?
read that, I said,
Oh my gosh, it happens so often. I don't understand it. There are lots of things that I just think I thought we finished this like 10 years ago, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought we got rid of colorblind language
Mm-hmm.
like 15 years ago. Like I didn't realize this was still a thing that we are teaching. Same thing with touching a black woman's hair. I didn't realize. Have we not told all the white people yet? Do all the white people not know that you should not reach and touch anybody's hair?
And if you're
But
not,
particularly black women?
yeah, and maybe we can just send them the second track of Solange's "Cranes in the Sky." Don't touch my hair.
Do
Ugh.
we just need to like play it in all the superstores? Like I don't understand. That's what to do.
It's just like,
Take
is
a
it?
message out. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No,
Way off topic.
no, keep going.
So yes, but there were a handful of things that were emotional for me to
Mm-hmm.
write. And I really had to separate what was personally difficult, my own bitterness,
Mm-hmm.
my own, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my own hurt around some of those stories and really tease out what a lot of marginalized folks experience.
Mm-hmm.
But then add back in the emotion, right? So not
Yeah.
make it about my bitterness, not make it about revenge, not make it about getting back at someone, but to make it about all of us, but add in the specific emotion that I
Mm.
know I went through.
That okay? If that was your goal, that you
Yeah.
accomplished that.
Oh,
Because
thank
as
you.
I was reading this book, I had so many moments, like as a queer person,
Yeah.
like working in churches and getting my experience explained away, getting my
Yes.
expertise discounted, getting
Yes.
people like wanting to use my gifts until it came to like actually using me as a person, like
Yes.
over and over and over again. Like that's the same thing that happened, or like you know telling people like, hey, this hurts, what you're doing hurts, and then everyone just like, well, you just need to forgive.
Woo! Lord have mercy. Just be more gracious.
Yeah, just be more loving.
Just be more loving. You need to open your heart.
Yeah, they have good intentions.
They have good intentions.
That
Yeah.
one, that one always gets me is like, across the board where it's usually just like straight cis white people, who, especially straight cis white male pastors, who do this thing where I don't know if like they accidentally lie or they're not like aware of their ability to accidentally lie. Just like, no, this is a safe place for you. This is a safe church. We welcome everybody. We're very committed to diversity. And then when you try to say, hey, that's not how this thing works, they're just like, I just feel like you just need to, I want to listen to more stories. If I have to tell one more white pastor my story, another male pastor my story, I'm just like, I put it on YouTube for a reason, Barbara.
Here's the link.
Yeah. But I think that was like the thing you did so incredibly well is, and as I was reading through it, I was like, I'm like, I see so much of myself in this story. And then I was like, but this is not my story. This is the story of a Black woman. But then.
No, that makes me so, so happy because, one, I am still learning about race and racial justice. You know, I think a lot of folks think that if you're born as a person of color and Black in particular, that you've just like always been woke. And, do you know what I mean? But like, no, I had to like read books. I had to question teachers, question curriculum, question theology. Like this has been a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm still learning the connections between marginalized bodies, right? So, and I spent a lot of time thinking about Black women, right? That's what I live. And I feel like there have been so many lies that I feel like I'm still digging out from under, you know? But that's not an excuse to not then make the connection to other folks. And so to hear you say that you connected with this book means a lot to me.
Yeah, I did. I loved it. Like, it's so good. Like, you did a damn good thing over here.
Make me cry.
I'm so
I'm a mess over here.
I mean, like, this was like, it was so much like like I related to it so much, and then it was a scale for me. It felt like scales falling off my eyes for like trying to even catch a glimpse of what a Black woman in America, and especially a Black woman in a white church, experiences.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask something.
Please do.
I'm looking at the story we tell, middle of the book, and it's something I noted and just like highlighted and asked a question: was it intentional? But I noticed that, and maybe this is something that I haven't really like thought about too much before, but I noticed how the capitalization of Black, as in just like it says, the reason we have not told the truth about the history of Black, capitalized B, and white America, lowercase w, is telling an ordered story of this nation that would finally mean naming America's commitment to violent, abusive, exploitive, immoral white supremacy, and continues. And I think the thing that I noticed, and this is it because of like whiteness not being a race, whiteness being this construct, whiteness being this thing that is not celebrating anybody's ethnic or racial diversity, but it is something that was created to get rid of diversity.
You got it. And I can't believe, of all the millions of podcast interviews I have done, you are the first person to even notice, or at least to bring it up. Maybe other people noticed and didn't want to touch it. But it's like, yeah, that was very, very intentional. So every place where Blackness could be a stand-in for the phrase African American, I capitalized the B. And any place where I mean Blackness is just like not white, then it's a lowercase b.
Okay.
Or if it's something that gets attributed to African Americans but isn't real. So like Black on Black crime is not capitalized because it's not a real thing. So even though folks mean African Americans, right? I'm like, I'm not capitalizing that because it's whack. That's why I'm not capitalizing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very, very subtle, but an intentional desire to give dignity to Blackness. And to say that Blackness is as important as African American or Asian American or, all these words that we would capitalize. Blackness is often a very specific culture.
Yeah.
The fact that I can't name a specific country in Africa doesn't mean that I can't capitalize who I am. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just thought that was like, I just thought it was like, I think I found an Easter egg in here.
You totally did.
I feel very, I feel top of the class.
I love that. I love that. You get an A.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Trying to, I have so many highlights that I could like go in here. There are two things because who knows how long we'll go on either one of them. I was nice in the chapter. Nice white people. You tell a story about how after talking on a stage about your experiences and calling out white supremacy, it came the confession of the white people of just like, I hurt my cousin's racist and I don't call him out on it, and etc. etc. Ew.
Do you know how tired I am of hearing white folks' confessions?
the white guilt confessions.
I have heard so many confessions. Oh my Lord. Woo.
And then at the end of it, you said, "I am not a priest for the white soul." I was like, "Damn."
I'm not. I cannot absolve you of your sin. Mm-hmm. And to hear the confession really does, in some ways, transports me into a story that I wasn't a part of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't at the table when your grandfather made the racist remark. Mm. You don't need to apologize to me for that. You should probably apologize to the people who were at the table. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But don't put me at your fictional table and then apologize for not saying something. Yeah. You could still go say something. It's not too late.
Yeah. You're not.
This is fixable.
I think it's one of those things where just like the way I relate to it is when people come up to me and say, that like that's like, you know, I had a gay cousin or something like that, and I wasn't kind to him at one point, or like there was a lesbian couple at our church, and like we didn't let them actually join the church, and
and you're like, what do I do with this?
And I'm like, oh. That's what I was like. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I don't want to say that's okay, because it's not okay.
Exactly, because it's not okay.
But
don't you feel like that's what they're looking for? They're looking for like
it's the,
oh, you're all right. I don't know what are they looking for?
I think it's Dr. Cheryl Anderson calls it the mythical norm, or the myth of like this mythical norm where just like perfection looks like white cis male affluent, and so everyone's trying to be in relation to that. And so when you challenge that, when you challenge the mythical norm that says like this is status quo, when you say no, actually that's not normal, that's just normative, it causes people to do one of two things: either double down on the fact that they're the nice person, nice white straight person, or then I'm the nice Christian, I'm not a bigot, I'm not racist.
We've heard all those.
And I think when we're able to share our stories and actually hits home for somebody,
right?
There's still this sort of, I think, a lack of like wanting to follow through. Just like, it's like, I now understand because I've heard this story that something is now required of me,
right?
And so because something is required of me, it's almost like, if I can get this absolution from this marginalized individual, maybe the work won't be as hard.
Right.
You know? Like maybe just like, it's okay. I'm friends with Kevin. I'm friends with Austin. And they said it's okay. It's all good, hon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheryl, that the work on the mythical norm is something that was like revolutionary for me to start to hear and like read through my own experiences, and also just like how I read the Bible too. It's genius stuff.
Okay, I have to go pick it up.
Yeah, I think I'll text you the name of the book after this.
That'd be great.
But that one, if you ever get a chance to see Cheryl Anderson do a lecture, she teaches at Garrett Theological Seminary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she's brilliant. brilliant. Like she's from the UMC world, and
Right.
so anytime she teaches, though, even if she's not preaching, even if she's just teaching, I shout from the
I
back of the
love
room.
that. Oh, I love that. I love voices who can help me make sense of the world.
Hmm.
It's just, there's something very freeing about being able to name what we're experiencing.
Hmm.
And I think for a long time, you know, but for me, I can't speak for other people, but I know for me, before college, like college was when I first started to like hear the words like white privilege. And,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, like, I've been experiencing all these things for such a long time, but now I have language
Yeah.
around it,
And then you don't feel crazy anymore. It's no
Exactly.
longer a phenomenon in and of itself.
Right. It's
Yeah.
such a gift. It's such a gift to be able to name our own experience.
Yeah. And I think we're still in many ways, I think, in the process of developing language for the various ways that we're experiencing life in the world with marginalized identities.
Yes.
Because like it's like, much like white supremacy like evolves into like different forms all over the place. Um it's it's like who was it at White Christian who literally said white supremacy is killing the church?
Ooh.
Um
I do remember this moment, but I don't remember whose voice, so I don't want to say
uh It's
it.
not. I can picture her name, but I just can't remember how to pronounce it.
Oh, got it. Was it Tahina?
Yes, Suhina.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, she just.
Yeah, she did. She laid it all out there.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, like, that binds this all up together is not, and I think just like binds our oppression all up together, is the mythical norm
Hmm.
of like what white supremacy tries to perpetuate, of just like this
Absolutely.
is what it looks like to be a human, just like the human.
Yes. I totally, totally agree. And that's why this book was so important for me. One, to not just name white supremacy, but to name the dignity of blackness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, and I'm still learning how to do this, even when I give talks or lectures or whatever. Um, for me, it's no longer enough to just name white supremacy, though important as it is and as much as I need it. I also need us to come back to what is good and true and beautiful and human
Hmm.
about marginalized bodies, right?
Yes.
So um, not just not bad, but good.
Hmm. And I would say not just good, but like what the creator calls, which is very good.
Very good, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like we're not having that conversation enough about all marginalized
Mm.
bodies, right? So
Mm.
queerness, not just not bad, right?
Hmm.
Which is, and
And I think
and
there's so many times, and I think it's also like proximity to whiteness and maleness that does this too. But there's
Mhm.
so many, especially in Christian circles, um, people who like they just get on the page with like one thing. It's just like I'm okay with my gay friends, and then they stop there.
Right.
Or like I think Black Lives Matter, but women being equal, I don't know.
It
You know what I'm saying though?
I
It's
totally understand. And I I have a very difficult time understanding how folks can live in the disconnection.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
I really
There's
do.
like a gap in their logic. That's what it makes it feel like to me.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say about that, Kevin. And there's still so many things that I don't understand and so many things that I'm learning. And just
Hmm.
like you said, just as there are things that you totally identified with and things that you're like, holy shit,
Mm.
right? That's how I feel all the time about queerness, where I'm like, yep, got it. That makes complete sense to me. Been there. And then there are other things that I'm like, oh my God,
Hmm.
that is no longer allowed. Like at one point, that was allowed to say to black folks, or
Hmm.
that was okay to do to black folks. But if somebody did that to me today, they would have a lawsuit. But
Hmm.
not so for folks who are queer, you know? And
Hmm.
so, yeah, the specific, oh, the specific and the shared. There's so much. There's just so much.
It's so much. You know
As
that
I face.
you know that you know that gif of that girl who's just like late. She's like, I'm gonna take a nap. She's just like lying down on the beach. It's like, I'm gonna take a nap here. That's how it feels like some days. I'm just like, I can't. I'm gonna take a nap right here.
I'm a big fan of naps.
It's a
I
whole,
often skip my day over. I'm just like, no, we're gonna hit the reset button.
yeah. Rest is a holy thing. So
I mean,
I mean, like, if I was on the seventh day, I'm just like, if I can't get it on a full day, that's 24 hours of napping I could take. Gotta space it out in the week.
listen,
You
listen.
know? That's theologically sound, right? Let me, Dr. Shara Anderson, if you're listening, please don't at me, girl. I mean, oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
I want to shift gears to another thing in the book that was super relatable to me, about creative anger that you quoted from Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde.
Yes, God bless Audre Lorde.
For Christmas, someone got me actually Sister Outsider, like the collection. I'm just like, y'all know me. You really do.
Like, you see me.
I'm just like, I know none of y'all family members are ever going to read this, but thank you for seeing me.
That's right.
And that's also something interesting. Like, so in our family lineage, we have Filipino and Indigenous Mexican and Dutch Irish from my mother's side. But because my father was military, we became American. And so like we lost like our Spanish, because even though it was my dad's first language, we lost all of our Spanish. We didn't really connect with any of our brown family out west.
I see.
And so, anyways, but like, it's so interesting, like me being on my journey with my racial identity, and then them not, like, because like I'm the only queer member of my family, and I often wonder, I'm just like, if I was not queer, would I have interrogated anything else? And so that's why I thank God every single day that I'm a queer human.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's something.
Hadn't interrogated my queerness, would I be? Wow. Woo.
There it is.
I think I even still how do I say this? I think I still sometimes underestimate, or am surprised by, maybe that's it. I still get surprised by the weight of the discovery of our own identity.
Dang, that's a good one.
Because I'm sorry, Kevin, I'm having trouble wrapping language around this. Like, we know our names. We know who our family is. We have all these labels, either the good kid or the funny kid or the kid with the good grades or the whatever, right? Like, we spend so much time sort of thinking about identity. And then when we get to sort of race, gender, sexuality, to still be learning.
Yeah.
About who we are and who we were and who we could be. It's really holy.
Yes.
It's really holy work.
It really is. And I think that, at least this is what like I have been learning in like my own personal journey this past, I think, few years. Well, I think about this just like I came out 2.5 years ago, and the thing I remarked from the very beginning of it is like, I have never been closer with God than I am now. I have never felt more connected with the divine. I've never felt more connected with my own spiritual walk, or like the family of God, to be honest.
Wow.
And so it's like, and the thing about it is like all of this is in relation to like a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And like if I can figure out who God made this person to be in this body,
right,
and then it's like that self-knowledge is of like the ways in which I am wonderful and the ways in which I'm a really shitty human. Like
totally.
It's like if I can say like, I know that the best version of myself doesn't live in, my pettiness on Twitter. Right. My most creative self, maybe, but not
I love that.
But you know what I'm saying? It's just like there's like all these like versions of like wanting to be like the best version of ourselves, and it comes from the self knowledge of the best version of ourselves, which is the person God created us to be. And so, the closer you are to God, it means the closer you are to yourself, and that self knowledge is so important. And then also and the thing is like once you recognize God in you, and you can really see God in you, you can see God in everybody else. And when you see God, in everybody else. Again, once you know better, you do better.
And I think that fuels the anger,
yeah.
right? So to then see somebody else being demeaned isn't just like, oh, that's my friend, or oh, that's my brother, or oh, that's, the infamous, I have a daughter, or you know what I mean, right?
I'm not sexist. I have a daughter.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sexist. I have a lady wife.
A lady wife, right? And you don't need that, right? You don't need the relationship. You don't need the particular connection. All you need is that person is created in the image of the divine. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. How dare you call what God has made good?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. Do not call unclean what I have made clean, honey.
Listen.
Oh my gosh.
That fuels the anger, right? Out of which then our creativity can flow.
Yeah. And I think that's where it starts. And I think so oftentimes, like we as marginalized identity, we always get told you're too angry. The way you're saying it is not helpful. And then rather than like getting our shit recognized, we are told you're being divisive. You're not contributing to unity in the body, and unity is more important than anything. And I'm like, but at whose expense? And that's something you
for
named.
What? Unity towards what? What are we being unified towards? Right? Like we're being silent. We're maybe being polite. We're maybe right. Like there may be some things that we're being, but unified isn't one of them, unless you can tell me what we're being unified for. What are we united against? What are we, right? What are we standing for? What is happening here?
Yeah. It's like the question Twitter always asks me at the very top when my desktop says, "What's happening?" And I'm like, brilliant question. What's happening?
What is happening?
Oh my gosh, that's real talk. And I think
ask the church, what is happening?
And that's something that like gets me so like really pissed off. It's like if you're not like, my thing is just like, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. Like
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and
that's what I'm talking about.
I just want people to be like good humans to each other, and like I don't think it's that hard, but
this is why it makes me so upset when Christians are just like, we just need to love each other. We just need to be more loving. Love trumps hate. I'm like, if your love is inconsequential, you can keep it. Like if your love makes no difference in my life, if your love does not equate to you being angry on my behalf, if your love doesn't equate to advocating for me, if your love doesn't equate to changing policy so that I feel dignified, if your love doesn't include sitting at that dining room table and saying that there will be no racist conversations tonight, like if that's not what your love includes, you can have it.
And the thing that so many pastors will do to marginalized folk all the time is want them to come in and then like, I just want to love on you. I want to love on you. And like you say you love me and then you betray me again and again and again. And that is not called love. That is called an abusive relationship.
Say that.
I have had too many pastors in my life do this to me, where it's just like, we love you. We think your voice is important. Like, we really want you to be a part of this community. And then, yeah, but do you?
Do you?
But like you sing "Come as You Are," but who I am literally like. I've like anytime a church says like just sings any sort of version of "Come as You Are," I'm just like, y'all think.
It's so. It's just so frustrating because when I imagine what the church could be, and I'm sure in
Right.
some churches is, right? That's not to say that all
Mm-hmm.
churches are dysfunctional. I'm not saying that. But when I think about the possibilities for
Mm-hmm.
what the church could be
Yes.
on the topic of love and how revolutionary it could be in the world. And instead, we are living through this moment where there is so much hatred. And I love social media. You
Mm-hmm.
and I, we love
Mm-hmm.
social media. But I can't deny how painful it also is to have the trolls, to read
Mm-hmm.
the news, to be witness, to constantly be a witness to the pain
Yeah.
and the indignity. It's hard.
Something you wrote in close to the end, you were referencing "When the Rainbow Is Enough," and you
Yeah.
said, "I should be immune by now to all of this."
I should be How am I not immune? How am I not immune to pain? How right? Like why doesn't not being surprised equal not feeling?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want.
Right. It's the same. I was. And you know what's sad is like this is the most tragic thing, and we're cracking up about it.
I know.
It's like the weirdest paradox of just like I can't believe this is happening. So this is
And I think there is something very profound about our joy
yeah.
and something very
Woo!
deep about our joy.
Joy
You
as
know,
resistance.
you know,
Me and Sister Jess Cass talked about that.
do
Ugh.
not get me started on my love for
Ugh.
Jess. Do not get me started.
Such
This whole podcast will become about her.
Jess, are you listening? Are you ready? No, but like that is the thing that I keep coming back to. And I think I'm not gonna spoil the end. You need y'all, the last chapter. Oh. That's all I'm gonna give you of that one. But you all go read it. If you haven't already pre-ordered it, you jerks. Or on Audible, either one. Anyways, now of it. Oh my gosh, we need to do one where we like take a RuPaul meme and just put your book next to it and say now available on iTunes. Now available on iTunes. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get the whole queer world up on your book. This is great.
Let's do.
Oh my gosh, what if we
this.
could get RuPaul to endorse this?
Listen?
See
Do
this?
not listen. Don't get my little hopes all
Uh,
up. Like, stop that.
Listen, sometimes I dream big. One time, my brother told me because like I somehow like, sometimes I call it the favor of the Lord. Sometimes I call it dumb luck. But he said like I'll just be like I want to fund this project and then it'll just happen because internet people are the best. Let me tell you why. Because I know I have friendships with people from all over the country whom I've never met, and
Yes.
I said like a couple years ago I had a friend who like an indigenous person living in Nepal. I found out that they needed a well for their school. I said, y'all, we need to raise $2,000 in 2 days. Had 3,000 in one.
Done.
And like, it's moments like that. I'm just like, I mean, that's church, man.
Right? I wish we could have more conversations. I am a fan of churches and buildings and belonging to a local community and all that jazz. That's beautiful and wonderful. But we've been talking about that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about this new era in which church exists across geography? Like, can we have, who is having that conversation? Because I feel like every time we try, someone is like, oh, but are you part of a local church? Oh, but are you having coffee with someone?
I hang out with the hashtag faithfully LGBT and Black Twitter as much as possible. Yes, I am.
It's simple, right?
It's just
I know. I feel like it's a whole conversation all by itself. but I am totally in agreement with you. My church right now, my primary church right now is online. No question. Or is digital. Maybe it's not necessarily like online, but it's through text messages and FaceTime. And yeah, it is digital.
Like group chats have saved my life this year.
Listen.
Like where I can just come back like, oh my gosh, 214 messages where we talk about either really hard stuff or completely frivolous stuff.
Right? Yes.
And it's so good because it's, you know, like if you're not lucky enough to have that like local context or your local church or be committed or like you're forsaking the gathering, it's like, listen, like I have people I gather with, you know, a few times a week, to be honest.
Right. And they're folks who I am honest with. When they ask me how I'm feeling, I tell them the truth. They are folks who are praying for me.
Yes.
There are folks who I am praying for. You know what I mean? It is such a beautiful community. I truthfully don't know what I would do if I didn't have a community that existed beyond the coffee shop.
Yeah. And I think additionally too, I think because of the internet, I think because there is a larger possibility of dissemination of information.
Yes.
Because like, you know, we can put this conversation online and someone like across the globe can listen to it and maybe in our own cities. It's moments like this that I am thankful that there is such a thing, like a road to change it out. I just had a brainwave. So I listened to this lecture a few years ago. It was actually right before Christmas, and they were doing this whole thing about just like setting the scene for when Jesus was born and like why it was focusing on the verse like and when the time came, our Savior came into the world. And it's like, what does it mean? And like they were unpacking at the appointed time, and the thing the lecturer pointed out was there was a common language with like Greek because of the Romans like conquering.
Sure.
So they had a people who were hungry for change. And then the third thing they had was a way to disseminate the information. There was roads to get there.
I see.
And so when I look at our time, I'm just like, what do we have right now? We have a common language.
Yes.
Or Google Translate. Hallelujah.
Hello.
And then we have a people who are hungry for change. And
Absolutely.
We have a way for the gospel to move. And I still believe in the power of a gospel.
I am about to get all Pentecostal over here. You better stop.
I'm serious. Like, let me tell you what.
All Pentecostal over here.
But like, that's the thing. Like, I remember the first time I knew I was supposed to be a pastor is when I heard this woman just like get up on stage with a microphone. She was like this, her hands up in the air. She goes, "Revival," and I was just like. First, like, I think about that moment all my life, and that's the word that I keep coming back to is, like, not revival in the sense of just, like, you know, like the old problematic Southern revivals they had under tents where, like, they're driving out demons and whatnot, but, like, a real, like, what would it look like to have, like, a Pentecost moment? What would it be like to have a presence of God poured out on God's people and us to wake up to everything?
And to not have to have the tent.
Ooh.
To be able to have that in California, in New York, and you know, like you're saying, like the road is massive. The road is massive,
and we can do it.
Oh, revival! Amen.
Come on,
Amen.
And look out for the conference coming next year. Revival. I just, yeah, you're, I know like we're probably like running short on time. We should probably jump off the phone in a little bit because I know you got things to do, but I can't tell you enough, how thankful I am for your words, for your vulnerability. What is it I wrote in the margins right here? What is this? Hold on. I just saw like a whole bunch of scribbles and I want to see what I said because it might be important because I probably said you need to talk about this. We'll have to do another podcast about that one because it's... When you come out with the second edition, I'm still here.
Part 2.
No, just the second book was like, no, it's like, no, really, I'm still here, y'all.
No, really?
I'm still here.
Yep, still here.
Oh, just yep, still here. That'll be a heaven forbid if that has to. We have to have a second book like that. I rebuke that in the Lord's name.
Then we need to go ahead and have our revival conference.
Yeah, exactly.
That will be confusion.
Your people can call me. I don't have people yet, but we're getting there. Let me tell you what I've been like, out of the shitty season that has been 2018 for me. Like, if I hit rock bottom and the ground cracked open, seeds are sprouting. Like, there's a lot of opportunity. And so I told God, like, at the beginning, I had like my little vision,
Yes.
Or they say visioning or like goal setting, whatever people call it. But I looked at God and I said, okay, here's what I want. I don't want to work in the restaurant anymore. I want to go to school and I don't want to pay for it. And I want a book deal by the end of the year. And 2 of the 3 things have happened. So,
Yay!
So, before we go, can you tell humans on the internet where they can find you and engage with your work and your book and all that stuff?
I would love for the humans to go to my website, austinchanning.com. There will soon be some goodies to go along with the book. Because I know people have a hard time sometimes like engaging with content like this. Like, there's a lot in this book. And it can be a lot to get through. You know what I'm saying?
We're talking about like discussion guides and whatnot?
Yeah. So we're going to have a little discussion guide. And I'm in the process right now of creating videos where I am interviewing other folks. So we're having a conversation about race, and then you can have a conversation about race. Isn't that so fun?
I've never been more excited about something. I get really jazzed. That's going to be so helpful, especially because
it's going to be so good.
Especially because white people don't know how to talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? And that means if you're a person of color who's in a little group discussion, you don't have to explain all the things. Push play on the video.
It's automated emotional labor.
You know what I'm saying? I am so coining that.
Automated emotional labor. This is what we do. Okay, we'll talk about that offline too. Okay.
So yes, austinchanning.com. More things are coming. And then all the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Come hang out with me.
That was my conversation with the amazing, beautiful, fantastic, lovely, magical black woman, Austin Channing Brown. Honey, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I loved it. I want to do it again sometime. Maybe we can just like kiki on our own. We don't even have to record it. We can just chitty chat. I would love that. So hit me up, girl. Austin's book, I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness, is on sale May 15th wherever fine books are sold, and it's currently available for pre-order. So if you haven't done that yet, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time listening to this podcast when you should be pre-ordering that book? Link is going to be in the show notes, so go ahead and grab that. You can connect with Austin on her website, austinchanningbrown.com, and across social media at Austin Channing. As per usual, a big fat thank you to all of my supporters on Patreon, especially Sonia Bowen and the 97 other co-conspirators who are contributing to making this podcast and my videos and blogs possible. I can't thank you guys enough for the support. You guys make the world go round. And if you are someone who's been listening to the podcast for a while or reading the blogs or watching the videos, I would highly suggest go right now to patreon.com/TheKevinGarcia and become a sustaining partner today. Something as little as $1 or $2 a month makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. And I'm telling you, like, it's life-giving to give back. I actually support a couple other creatives out of my own pocket as well because I believe that we got to pay this shit forward, honey. So if you think this work is important, if this has been beneficial for you, if you think that we need to have more content like this more readily available for people, become a sustaining partner. It's as simple as that. You know you want to. You know that you've needed for a while too. I'm about to pull this altar call moment. If you feel in your heart beating out of your chest right now, that's the Holy Ghost telling you to move, to do something, to contribute. And maybe that is the case for you. Like, if the Holy Ghost has been whispering for you to do something for a while, do not deny the Lord. I mean, you only reap blessings from following what Jesus is asking you to do. All right, done talking about that. And before I go, just letting you know, I'm going to be at the Wild Goose Festival this summer. That's going to be July 12th. I'm going to be leading a summer camp in June in Silver Springs, Florida. I have all that information on the blog, which is thekevingarcia.com. Connect with me there. Connect with me across social media at thekevingarcia. I think that's everything I've got to say. Yeah, pretty much that's it. So go see your therapist, drink some water, call your friends, go out to dinner this weekend. I think you deserve it. And don't skimp out on the thing you actually want. If you want to order wine and an appetizer, do it, because you're worth it, honey. But if that's outside of your means, don't do that. Get that dollar menu realness. There's nothing wrong with you doing something cheap that's also a treat. You know what I'm saying? Okay, done talking. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. This has been another episode of A Tiny Revolution. My name is Kevin Garcia, and we'll chitty chat later, boo-boo. Bye!